Hey, it's Matt, your Everdark Gamer, and for this video, we've got something really good for you. This is my best guide for Ironeye so far, post doing his Remembrance. His Remembrance is in the description below, by the way. This is going to be a great build for Ironeye. Certainly my best build for him so far in Elden Ring Nightreign. Ironeye's been a fantastic character. We're going to go over his abilities real quick right now. He has Eagle Eye. He can discover more items from foes. His character skill is Marking, gives you a target and additional damage. It's great. And his ultimate is Single Shot, a giant bow, which we've added poison to. I'll talk about that throughout this video. First things first, let's talk about how the build works. So this entire video is built off one run. I had a whole bunch of clips and this was supposed to go up on my alternate, and I'm not sure what channel this is going to end up being on. I might put this one on my main one because it was pretty wild, but I'll see as I go here. But anyways, long story short, this ended up being a crazy run. We had 3 people. One person left very early. I thought about leaving. I was honestly considering leaving because it was the Everdark Soveriegn version of Gnoster. If that's how you say his name, I think the G is silent. And that boss is typically really difficult. So I figured with 2 people, we're not going to be able to take him down. And it ended up being one of the best runs I've played so far with a complete random. Credit to this guy. He's really good, by the way. Let's go over the build, though, and how it works. You can see we have the poison in our ultimate. You can add that as an effect to his giant arrow. It usually gives you a poison proc for most bosses right away. It's great. And we are running frost arrows to get in frost procs as well for the additional debuff. Get that, the targeting ability, the poison, etc. And Ironeye can start to shred really quickly. Now for tougher bosses, just focus on using light arrows as many times as you can. We're building up Frost, and our build, I'll show at the end, the exact relics, is going to give us additional arcane too. He's got decent arcane scaling as well. There's the giant bow ability, and we've got the poison proc there as well. It's absolutely awesome having that added effect. Again, that's going to be in the relics we'll show off. But of course we have Frost and added arcane because Frost now scales with arcane in Elden Ring Nightreign. So the concept really is just to get as many frost procs as you can and upgrade your base bow. Don't forget to upgrade that to blue, and then if you get to one of the caves, upgrade that with a purple smithing stone and you will get a purple bow that does a lot of frost damage. And his mighty shot on his base bow is actually quite good. It can go through shields, and the Ash of War is fairly good in terms of poise damage. Definitely something worth upgrading and a very good part of this build overall. By the way, I want to mention this, funny enough, this was the round, this entire thing is the round where someone dropped out and it's just 2 of us, but I hadn't fought the Everdark Soveriegn Gnoster yet. This is the first time that I ran into him. I had to be really careful at the final boss fight. I'm going to show that off. That's going to be the highlight of this video. We're going to be jumping into that soonish. And I want to mention that it was the first time jumping into that. I actually took the weekend off from like difficult games and stuff. I had fun. I spent some time with family and whatnot. And yeah, it was a good weekend overall, but I didn't really play any tough games or challenging games over the weekend. I basically took off from YouTube, which you got to do every once in a while, and then got back to it last night, hopped into a round. Of course, somebody left right away because they ended up running to the wrong place and staying there, and then it was just us 2 all the way to the end. I figured 100%, no doubt, we were going to lose because I had never seen the boss before, the altered version of the boss, and of course, there was only 2 of us. Of course, the other guy here was really good. He was excellent. He helped a ton. It was honestly great. But yeah, I had to learn the boss's moveset really fast. We're going to talk about that later when we go over the whole build and show off that fight as the main highlight for the video. But back to this, the concept really is simple. Getting your targeting ability, backing off, getting in the frost procs like you did there to take in chunk damage, to take out chunk damage. And then after that, of course, you're going to continue to get that additional 10% or so and poise damage from having the targeting ability on them, which is big for Ironeye. Whenever you get your ultimate too, you're going to want to use that as well for that poison proc. Once again, it's in the relics. I'll show off those. And if you need any better relics, I mentioned this earlier, the Remembrance is going to be in the description below, and you can get some really solid relics for Ironeye that has pretty much all of the abilities and kind of mix and match those. Alright, we're going to show off one more boss, and then we're going to jump into the really cool clip with just 2 of us taking on that final boss. For the final notes here, whole concept, get in that big bow, that ultimate hit, get in the poison proc. You're going to get a lot of posture damage as well. Go in for a critical break when you can. We have added runes, by the way, on the critical breaks. That's part of something you get from his Remembrance. I'll go over the relics again at the end. And then back off, pelt him with as many arrows as you can possibly pelt him with. Go in for that frost buildup. This guy's running fire, so that will reset the frost, but you still get the chunk damage, the percentage damage of their HP like I did right there. And keep pelting whatever boss you're facing. try to keep your distance, because don't forget, you're Ironeye. You can't take a ton of damage. You don't have a ton of HP, so you have to be super careful and stay back if possible. And when you get a chance, Mighty Shot, again, great for the poise damage as well, and the extra added frost buildup I believe you get with Mighty Shot as well. It's a little bit additional frost, so that's pretty cool too if you can handle that. But overall, I just like to pelt with light arrows. That's the whole concept for me in terms of the build. And then there we get in Mighty Shot. The concept really works quite well overall. I mean, Ironeye is able to get a ton of chip damage, build up frost quickly, and break bosses fast. And really, you're going to do an excellent job with a build like this one. I think this is the best build I've created for Ironeye so far, a mix of his Remembrance relics and relics that I was able to put together. If you can get something similar, that I'll show at the end of this video, you're going to get a ton of damage. You're going to be able to use Ironeye in both solo mode as well as co-op and take on tough bosses and take them down fast. Once again, switching back to Mighty Shot for the poise damage and the extra damage overall. Use the targeting ability, also gives you iframes so you can dodge with it as well. I was able to get behind him there, and then we took out the Magma Worm. Now we're going to be jumping into the Everdark Soveriegn boss. Alright, and now we're going to talk about Gnoster, if that's how you say his name. And yeah, I had no idea what was going to happen here whatsoever. Like, I didn't even know he had 2 health bars, so I was overly cautious here. I do go down once during this fight. I think it's relatively early on, and then after that I was pretty focused. First things first, we got the hit in. That's going to poison proc him. You can see the poison proc already, and his HP is already going down. This, I believe, shortly here is where I go down. I believe it's actually the only time I go down, and that's just because sometimes when he does the trampling move, where he just runs over everything, I tend to get hit by that for some reason. I have a hard time dodging that move overall, although I'll admit it's a little bit easier to dodge with a character like Ironeye than rather Guardian. Overall, probably shouldn't have been able to get out of the way, but he gets me up here, and then we're going to take on this boss with just the 2 of us, me and this random guy. Credit to him because he's an excellent player, by the way, and let's talk about the build in the process. So I truly wish I brought a fire bow. I wasn't too prepared. I didn't know what his second phase was resistant to, or if anything changed in that regard, so I kind of wanted to run frost because most of the bosses in the game take good frost damage, and you get the debuff and the extra damage overall. Once again, did not know this boss's moveset in Phase 2. Did pretty bad in Phase 1. I actually handled Phase 2 a little bit better than Phase 1. I was wondering, as his HP went down, I was like, what's going on here? This can't be the regular version of the boss because he obviously started on the, I believe it's a scorpion or whatever it is. So I figure at this point, I was like, as his health is going down, there has to be a Phase 2 here. Like, there's got to be a Phase 2 because this is way too easy, and this can't possibly be anything different because this is pretty much all the stuff I've seen already. And sure enough, he has an entire another health bar. Well, actually, not only does he have an entire another health bar, it gets really confusing really quickly, and it's going to be 3-on-2. Typically, it would be 3-on-3, but it's going to be 3-on-2 because the other guy we had left very early in the game. He actually went in a complete opposite direction, died, and then just quit. Which was kind of weird because we marked all the stuff on the map where we were going, and it turned out to be a victory. So it was kind of a waste of a time for that person to leave, unless they had something to do, of course. But anyways, back to this. We are able to get in as much damage as we possibly can because we're going to go up to the Moth rather quickly here, and we're going to continue to go for Frost build-up. And when we have our ultimate, which will regenerate soon, we're going to go for that for the poison proc and the poison ability too, which you can add to the ultimate, and for the massive posture damage it does. Yeah, I was 100% sure that we were going to lose this. I really thought that this was a loss. I pretty much had this marked as a loss, like ahead of the fight, like way ahead of the fight. I was like, well, might as well finish the round, though. I don't really like to quit out of stuff. I like to stick it through, and it ended up being worth sticking through the whole thing. So here's where I didn't really understand what was going on here. I believe if I was shooting the red part of the boss, I would have been doing more damage to the actual boss. I went and tried to take the Moth down, though, because, again, I wasn't really familiar with the fight. This was the first round that I hopped in and saw this boss, so I didn't really know the moveset or anything, and I honestly thought you had to take out all 3. I didn't understand till later on that you're only focusing on the red portion of it, and I believe once that boss's health bar is depleted, then they all go down. But I figured I'd just keep going after the moth. Plus, I didn't want too much pressure on the guy that was doing damage to the, I believe it's a scorpion. I hope I'm saying that right. I think it's a scorpion. It looks like a scorpion. But anyways, Gnoster, yeah. I was just letting him do his thing over there because I figured I'd distract the moth and try to get him over here so he wasn't spamming too much. He does spam a lot of magic attacks overall. We're able to get a couple of frost procs on him as well. And of course, as we're pelting these arrows, we're also building up our ultimate too, which we want to be able to use as much as possible. And we took him down, but apparently only temporarily because, again, I didn't really understand this boss fight. If you're wondering why I'm not using the targeting ability, this would be why. I didn't know his moveset whatsoever, so I just stayed back. I didn't want to risk being in those explosions because had I been in them and I didn't roll properly at the right time, odds are that would probably take me down because it looks like it does a lot of damage. And again, I had no idea for the most part what was going on here, so I just continued to pelt him with arrows, get as much damage as I can, and go for that frost build-up, which of course he could on-proc because he's using fire, so you get the chunk damage, and then you could go for it again and continue to pelt with as many arrows as possible and get as much damage in as you possibly can. Ironeye is a lot of chip damage, really, until it's not. If you get the targeting ability, the ultimate, if you're able to combine everything all together, then Ironeye becomes a very powerful character that can complement any other character in the game, in this case, complementing the Wilder character, who is doing more damage than me and is up close doing a ton of fire damage. Now, if I had fire bows, it would have been better. I should have been more prepared in that regard, but Frost ended up working well. We had a good combination thing where we were able to use both fire and frost to a good degree and get a good amount of damage with that combination. Once again, this guy was really good, so a lot of credit to him. Hopefully maybe he shows up in the comments below. It was a surprise, though, to run a two-man crew. I held my own, at least. I only went down once early on, and again, I did not know the moveset whatsoever, so that was the challenging part for me. I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, a lot of these beams and stuff, which are obviously different, I wasn't sure of how to handle them. There I used the ultimate, though, for a lot of damage. His ultimate really is great when you land it. And, of course, early on, later on, you're not guaranteed the poison proc, but early on, resistances go up. You will get that poison proc a lot, and then you can go right back to frost build up and get that, too. This, again, had no idea what the hell was going on here whatsoever. I do end up taking a decent amount of damage because I didn't really know how to dodge that or where that was going. Went back to him, though, and he's going to go down relatively quickly from here. This was a little bit of a surprise for me. Out of the three bosses, I didn't manage to defeat Adele. Tried him like 10, 12 times, didn't beat him. And then beat Dark Drift Knight on the first try with a three-man crew, and beat Gnoster with a two-man crew on the first try. So, yeah, a little bit of luck here with this guy being this good. Again, I want to give credit to this guy. But also the Ironeye build working out really well. Having that frost ability, having a good amount of damage, having poison on the ultimate, and having that extended targeting ability. Pretty much everything that you need to turn Ironeye into a powerful character that can complement any other character in the game, really, especially a character that can tank hits. If you're running with a Wilder, a Raider, etc., Guardian works too, you'll end up being able to take down tough Night Lords. In a second, we're going to jump into Relics, everything you need to know for this awesome Ironeye build. I hope you enjoyed that fight. I hope that was enjoyable overall. It was definitely unexpected for me. Let's jump into Relics now, though, for our awesome Ironeye build. Can't wait to get into this one. Hopefully this guide helps you with Ironeye. He's been a ton of fun. Yeah, really cool character overall. Once again, the Remembrance is in the description below if you need it. Let's jump in and talk about the Relics right now, what I'm running. We have Ironeye Art activation, adds poison effect, increased rune acquisition for self and allies, starting armament inflicts frost. That's our frost build-up. Ironeye boosts thrusting counter attacks after executing art. If you use thrusting swords, that's great. Improved critical hits. Arcane +3, that's huge because Frost now scales with Arcane. Our last one's going to be from the Remembrance. Extends the duration of weak point. Critical hits, earn runes. This is a great combination build with these three relics here. I love running these for Ironeye. I think this is the best build that I've made for Ironeye so far. Really enjoy the Frost build up and the Frost style of play for Elden Ring Nightreign. And thanks for watching this one. Thanks for tuning in to my Ironeye build guide for Elden Ring Nightreign. Hopefully this helps you build a powerful Ironeye character and my best build yet post the Remembrance that I made. Once again, that's in the description. Don't forget to sub as well if you want to see more Elden Ring and Elden Ring Nightreign content. I've been covering both. I will catch you guys in the next video.